Hello friends, I am Dr. Sudhan Sharma from School of Computer and Information Sciences, Indira Gandhi National Open University. And today's session is about vectors and three-dimensional geometry. And this is an introductory session about our fourth block. In the series, we had completed till now three blocks: Algebra 1, Algebra 2 and Calculus, wherein we had covered the topics like matrices, determinants, mathematical induction, complex numbers, sequences and series, and many more. And apart from this, we had completed differential and integral calculus and their applications. Now it's time to start our fourth block, which is vectors and three-dimensional geometry. Now in this session, we are going to briefly discuss about what are the contents of the fourth block and what is the relevance of studying these contents. So the objectives of today's session are that after this session, you should be able to understand what is the relevance of vectors in computer science, understand the relevance of three-dimensional geometry in computer science, and you are able to understand the relevance of linear programming in computer science. So this block is comprised of actually three topics: vectors, which is discussed in detail. So as a result of which it is contributing to 2 units, vectors 1 and vectors 2. Thereafter, we will be discussing about three-dimensional geometry, wherein the application of vectors will be discussed. And finally, we will be discussing about linear programming, which is an important part for optimization techniques. So block 4 is comprised of 4 units. Unit 1 is vector 1, unit 2 is vector 2, unit 3 is three-dimensional geometry, and unit 4 is linear programming. So far as unit 1 is concerned, we are supposed to understand what are vectors and scalars. These are the fundamental concepts to understand the concept of vectors. Apart from this, the related concepts are their magnitude, direction, direction cosines, direction ratios, and about the algebra of the vectors, likewise addition, subtraction, multiplication operations. And we are also going to cover the concept of section formula in our unit number 1. Thereafter, in our unit number 2, we are going to cover the concepts like scalar product, that is the dot product, vector product, that is the cross product of the vectors. Apart from this, we are also going to cover the concepts of the scalar triple product and vector triple product. So vectors is an important part, and it is very much required in the field of computer science. And nowadays we are having vector machines, we are having vector databases, vector images. So we are having bitmap images and vector images. You are coming across these terms day in and day out, and there is a huge role of the vectors. So we need to understand what vectors are. So there are many quantities in geometry and physics like area, volume, mass, temperature, speed. Such quantities are only possessing the magnitude, but they are not having the direction. Say if the temperature of the room is varying, is increasing or decreasing, it will be increasing or decreasing in all the directions uniformly. So that means there is no direction specified for the variation of such quantities, and such quantities are possessing only a single real number, that is the magnitude, and such quantities are known as scalar quantity. Whereas there are quantities like displacement, velocity, you are having acceleration, they are characterized by both magnitude and direction. So they are not represented by only a single real number, they require both magnitude and direction. What do we mean by magnitude and direction? We will be discussing when we are going to begin with the unit of the vectors. And such quantities are known as vector quantities. You might be thinking that why to understand vectors, what is the relevance of concept of vectors? As I already discussed, that vectors are very important concepts so far as computer science and other disciplines are also concerned, like physics is there, electronics is there, signal processing, many more. Be it any area, you will find vectors are there, and you can apply the concepts which are delivered in the sessions for vectors to the respective areas. Likewise, I had already communicated that we are having bitmap images and vector images. Vector graphics are there. So bitmap images are scalar in nature and vector graphics are vector in nature. What do we mean by that? We will be discussing when the session going on. Now, apart from this, we are having vector databases. We are having the concept of tensors. So, TensorFlow machines are there. So, n number of developments are going on day in and day out in the field of computer science, wherein the concept of vectors is very much required. So, in order to understand all those things, you need to have the fundamental understanding of vectors and scalars, which will be delivered in sessions for vector 1 and vector 2, which are the 2 units for block 4. Thereafter, we are having the concept of 3-dimensional geometry, wherein we are going to cover the concepts like distance formula, direction cosines, and ratios of the line passing through 2 points, equations of different forms for line, likewise parametric equation of line. We are also going to cover and understand about angle between the 2 lines and what do we mean by coplanar and skew lines. Apart from this, how to determine the distance between the skew lines. These are some of the topics which we are going to cover in unit number 3, that is 3-dimensional geometry. Now, the relevance of studying these concepts are in computer science. We are having computer aided designing, CAD. So, CAD and CAM machines are there. So, so far as designing is concerned, we need to have the understanding of 3-dimensional geometry. Apart from this, when we are going to develop the gaming applications or going to develop some computer graphic component, then at that point of time, we need to have the critical understanding of 3-dimensional geometry. And the concepts which are delivered in the sessions for the 3-dimensional geometry, wherein you are going to understand about the distance formula or direction ratios and cosines and different forms of the equations of line. You will enjoy that how these concepts can be applied to the different fields when we are going to explore those fields by applying these concepts. Finally, the block will conclude with the important topic, that is linear programming, and linear programming is very much required for optimization techniques. Now, in this unit, we are going to deliver the concepts related to the basic terminologies for linear programming, for understanding linear programming, like with constraints, objective functions, how to optimize that. Now, apart from this, how to perform the mathematical formulation of the linear programming problem, how to exhibit the solution of a linear programming problem with a graphical method, and to find the feasible regions. Now, this concept of linear programming is very much required when we are going to perform some optimization. So, and optimization techniques are very much required in computer science, be it the area of machine learning or artificial intelligence or data science or anything. Then, apart from this, in management, cost optimization and loss minimization and all those things, wherein you need to identify in the constraints how the things are to be executed. Now, we had also discussed in our earlier sessions that the inequalities are very much related to linear programming. So, understanding of inequalities, which we had discussed in our earlier sessions, will be applied in this unit of linear programming. So, again, I want to emphasize that the units which are covered in our self-learning material are interconnected. The understanding of one unit is very much required to understand the content of the subsequent unit. So, I welcome you for understanding this block number 4, and in our subsequent session we are going to deliver the concepts of vectors. For apart from this, I would again like to emphasize that try to practicize more and more numericals and questions which are given in your self-learning material for better understanding of the concepts. Thank you.